Well, when you step inside the Urban Shaman Gallery in downtown Winnipeg these days, you'll be greeted by a wide variety of works ranging from video installations to sculptures made of rusting metal to, as you can see behind me, the wonderful canoe with red ribbons. All of this makes up Refused, the latest creation by Two-Spirit Métis artist Candace Lipischak, who joins us here to talk more about it. Thanks so much for taking the time.
Thank you, thank you.
The first thing that strikes you, as I say, when you walk in is just the wide range of materials that you use in this exhibit. How do all of these things speak to you about what Refused is trying to say as a whole?
Right, so my practice started about 10 years ago, and it was just about collecting items that I found on the property that were left by the old farmer that was there. And I just started cleaning up and just reflecting on how these pieces could come together to create art to bring certain subject matters to life. So using all these different items just gives me the opportunity to broach many subjects and to talk about different things using different materials.
So the property that we're talking about here just outside of Otterburne, Manitoba, in the southeastern part of the province, what is it about that part of Manitoba and that property that has brought out such creativity in you for all the things that you found when you first moved there?
Right, so we live right along the Crowing Trail. It's a very historical part of that section of Otterburne as well. My family is from St. Malo, and I'm very familiar with St. Pierre and the rural area and also Otterburne. So it meant a lot to have all these pieces together in one place because they all came from this one place, this old homestead that was about 100 years old.
So it strikes me that for as much as this exhibit says about colonialist harms and conversations around reconciliation, that it feels very apt then to reclaim some of these things from a farm, a homestead, a settler property, perhaps, if you will, to then use these materials to make up Refused. Was that part of the calculus that makes up this kind of an exhibit?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, to have all the history that's entailed in that, and to be able to bring to light certain stories that are really important, such as missing murdered Indigenous women and girls, the Indian residential schools, and the way people were treated. So there are some lighthearted pieces in here, but there are also some pieces that are really meaningful and special.
There's been, in the conversations that I have had with Indigenous and Métis artists, the theme that I keep hearing is that there is this element of humor, of lightness that helps to address these historic wrongs and harms. How much does humor factor into what we are seeing around us here at Urban Shaman these days?
Well, I do have some pieces that are a little bit lighter. There's some beadwork pieces. There is one piece that it's a moose antler teeth with a tongue, you know, sticking out, and a set of lips, so very contemporary but very in your face. And it's called Ma langue Michif, which is also my Métis language. So there is a bit of lightheartedness here and there. But there is a lot of seriousness as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And varying degrees of seriousness, not necessarily for how serious they are, but from how wide-ranging they speak to a whole culture of issues. We mentioned issues around missing and murdered Indigenous women, for example, but then there's also personal struggles, like with breast cancer, for example. How do the micro and the macro serious things, hard things, all come together in Refused?
I believe it's just a way of balancing, and I know that our curator Justin Bear-Ladivé really had a hand in that in terms of having the exhibition sectioned out in certain pieces. So. For example, here you've got emphasis on water. You've got a water protector there. You've got, you know, the feeling of how water is so important. And then you've got the breast cancer awareness. I know a lot of friends, family, my mother in particular, my grandmother, who are survivors. My grandmother is no longer with us today, but this was to show them that we're just so proud of their resilience, and that is a really important subject to talk about.
It even says on the wall behind us over there, pour ma mom, pour mes mères.
Yes.
All like very, very literal dedications to your relatives, as you were just saying, to your family. What have you heard from your wider family, maybe the wider Michif community, as they have come in to interact with Refused here at Urban Shaman?
It's been really, really touching, really heartwarming. I've had a lot of positive feedback. I've had people to say that it has been touching for them, and it reverberates. You know, they know where I'm coming from, and they can, you know, really relate to the work and stuff like that. And the support's been tremendous.
Yeah. We've gone all this time talking about Refused, and yet there's also something very striking about the title as you work with all of these materials that you're finding around that property just outside of Otterburne. Maybe you can tell us a bit about where that title came from and how it unites all of these materials and all of these subjects.
Right, so the title Refused also plays on the word refuse, which is garbage.
Yeah.
So almost all of the, you know, pieces that you see here were either thrown away or given as a gift because they know the kind of work that I do, but it's just objects that have been left aside to rot or to, you know, disintegrate or to be brought to the landfill. So it was just my way of being able to put these pieces together, like I said, to tell a story and yeah, just to show them who I am as an artist.
So in the midst of all of these visual art pieces of a wide variety, you're mentioning all the reclamation of all of these different materials. There's also this video installation, which we hinted at in the introduction here, which is playing right in behind us over here, a bit of a television series, as it seems. What can you tell us about The Awakeners and what is airing on the wall over here?
Right, so The Awakeners was a very important project that I took part in with other Indigenous artists with disabilities. It was brought together by Laura Vincent, and she is an artist in her own right. She's a singer-songwriter who's actually losing her hearing.
Wow.
So it was really important for her to bring together Indigenous artists with disabilities that have paved their own path in their artistic practice. And it's a very bare bones look at who I am, how I got here, the post-traumatic stress disorder, the diagnosis with multiple sclerosis, and how art comes into practice to heal.
I was just about to ask, what role does all of this play as you contend with these parts of your life, PTSD and multiple sclerosis, not to mention generational harms that exist as well?
Right, when I first started creating, it was for myself. I didn't think, oh, I'm gonna be an artist and I'm gonna start doing this because I'll be an artist. It was completely for myself. I just found solace in creating and not thinking about things, and you're just thinking about the piece at hand and, oh, what can I do? And a lot of creativity that went into that. So it was a way of kind of forgetting. But it was also a way of healing because I could use my hands and put a lot of my soul into it.
How has the therapeutic role of your art maybe evolved for you in the decades since you began this kind of practice in earnest?
I think healing is evolutionary every day. Every day you heal a little bit more, but it's not just healing for myself, it was also healing for others. So it's just so gratifying and so important to see that other people can heal as well with the pieces that you're making, or be encouraged to create themselves to be able to heal in their own journey.
As you continue to create in this healing journey, what maybe are some things that you think that could be a part of that practice now that you have completed, maybe that's the wrong word, arrived at this exhibit, at Refused? What's maybe the next step that you're able to take now that you have created these pieces?
Right. I won't stop creating, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But my next big project will be to work on a children's book.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a real Métis story about a baby moose that was rescued and brought to our family farm, the Didosier farm in St. Malo, and brought up by a horse, Betsy, who had lost her foal. So it's a real lighthearted, awesome adventure French book that will be translated in Michif. So we're going to have some language revitalization and preservation in there.
Wow.
So yeah, it's always, creating, but in different levels.
Such a wide range of creativity as well. As you're walking around on that property in Otterburne, for example, and you see something that is a part of that property from its previous owner, perhaps a rotting grain silo or maybe leftover farm equipment. I even saw like a fully used wasp nest over in the far side there.
Yes.
When you see those things, what is the moment like when you go, yeah, I'm going to use that, and this is what it's going to be. This is what it's going to represent. What's that spark like?
Man, it's like finding gold. When you're panning for gold and you see that one little tiny shiny nugget?
Yeah.
That's kind of what it's like. For example, this canoe was brought to me from friends of mine, Lucy and Daryl Minard, and they were going to use it for something else, but it's just so old that they were wondering if I could do something with it. So as soon as they brought it in, it was a very sunny day, and I could see the light shining through the slats of the canoe. And I automatically knew that I wanted to do a piece for missing, murdered Indigenous women and girls. It represents the ribbon skirts they'll never wear, the ribbon skirts that they should still be wearing and dancing in ceremony. And it was a very important piece. The canoe was smudged. My mother helped me with it as well. So it was, I had my matriarch with me to help me along the way.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's always that aha moment that sometimes it'll take a few years. The wasp nest took about 7 or 8 years because it was a gift.
Yeah.
And I ended up using it now. So you don't throw things away,
Just,
I mean, all of the things here were made with things that were thrown away pretty much. So
right.
They all have an importance for sure.
Sure, and making sure that those things still have that use and are maybe evolving in their own right to become something that speaks into our present moment, into your life, and then into the lives of everybody that visits Refused over the next little while. We'll have more information about Refused at our website, classic107.com, and the Classic 107 app to make sure that you can come and check out this amazing exhibit at the Urban Shaman Gallery. Candace Lipischak, this has been an absolute delight to learn more about this exhibit and about your creative practice. Thanks so much for taking the time.
Thank you as well. I appreciate it so much. Thank you.